I not? But over time and time again, once I've made about 5,000 lattes, would I be good at that? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. So you work as well. So you know, training, anything you do over and over again, you get good at it. If you keep my house, I'll make a cup of tea. It'll take you 5 minutes longer than it takes me. Why? Because I know where everything is. So the difference between successful people and the average person is, average person starts something and they just throw their dummy out straight away. Because they have to learn. You know? Successful people, when they find a vehicle that they can make money on, and they put themselves into it, they don't stop. They don't stop until they do. That's all it is. They don't let anything get in the way. They just carry on. The only thing that can stop them is death. And this is the reason why. This is my favourite subject. People teach you how to actually learn something. You know? Because what I realised was, with all subjects, doctors, mechanics, you get taught by a doctor, you get taught by a mechanic. That'd be right. I mean, could you imagine someone wants to be a doctor, not getting taught by a doctor? It's a dangerous thing, right? The mechanic has to get taught by a mechanic because last thing you want is someone going around the M56 and the flipping tire coming off. So these jobs are taught by people who live straight. But business is not taught by people who have been into business. It never is. It's never taught by anyone who's wealthy. So you've got someone coming up to teach you how to do business. Because when people do business studies, they do it to make money. Am I right? When someone does business studies, they don't do it because it was just subject before. Business studies is one of the most picked subjects probably in the country. Do you know why? Because everybody wants to make money. Why do they want to make money? Because they want freedom. Money's not important when you need it, so they want freedom. So everyone picks business. But the unfortunate thing is, the lecturer or the person teaching them the business has never made money themselves, never owned a business. How the hell can someone who's never made money, own a business, teach you how to make money? I mean, how do we do a better job at some of the universities that teach business than the people that are teaching it? Because why? I've been through experiences, I've been through business, I know how it works, I've been there, I've done that. You know, if you look at, it's a bit depressing, is there any uni students in here? Anyone at uni? What are you studying? Accounting and finance. But that's not too bad. That's okay, I'll leave that one alone. That's a good one. But I was going to press you with something else. Did you know that in accountancy, if you've got 100 students spending 3 years, spending say £30,000, let's be minimum, over 3 years you spend £30,000 getting into debt because they've been doing their course. Out of that 100, only 3 will get a job in the subject they're studying for. So you have a 97% fail ratio. Told you it was depressing. You know, and that's what it's like. I'm not knocking education. Education, you need education. If we didn't have education, I wouldn't read these slides, right? Logic versus emotion. This is another thing they fail to teach you in business studies. When you do a business, you'll never do a business on logic. Any successful entrepreneur never does a business on logic. If we did a business on logic, we'd have no windows because Bill Gates was told, you're crazy. Not every home will have a computer in its house. Virgin, Richard Branson, these people, they wouldn't have been the successful entrepreneurs they have if they use logic. You can't do business on logic. You have to do business on emotion. Because if you do logic, because your brain has 2 parts, logic and emotion. The logic is what is like a safeguard. It's built inside you. It's a defense mechanism. You don't need that defense mechanism nowadays because you're not really getting attacked by it. Does that make sense? Everything's regulated. Everything we do is quite straightforward. There's a highway code for even driving on the road. So the reason I use this is because some people they use logic when they go through business. Logic does not work. You have to use emotion. If you use logic, you wouldn't buy a smartphone. So sure, all of you have smartphones, don't you? You have a smartphone? I don't know if you use it, and you're nodding away from it. If you use logic, you wouldn't buy a smartphone. A smartphone, like, when I wake up, my phone's fully charged. I use it for about 2 hours talking to people. It's dead. I have to get in the car, charge it. I have to constantly be charging it. I've just charged it on the way here. I've got 10% left. If I use logic, I would have one of these Nokia phones, which is just an article I was reading the other day that all phones are better than smartphones. And the reason I put this on is because this is something that I would say. If you used logic, you would buy one of these phones, and you just check your emails online, check your Facebook online. So I thought I'd put that on because it actually proved my point. Cost of starting a business, I know Mark touched base on this. Traditional businesses or normal businesses start massive investments. £50,000, £100,000 you need. And then when you do them, I know many business owners that have done traditional businesses and lost small amounts of small fortunes while doing it. But not only that, because when you get involved in a traditional business, not only do you spend more than £50,000 doing it, a lot of the time these guys that you see in shops that you see, they're not making money. They're just about paying and getting through the day. And they have to because they're committed to it, they're signed to a lease or they're signed to a mortgage, and they have to just keep on going until one day they go bust, which is relatively, nowadays, quite quick, and then they lose everything because the investment is so big. And then for the average guy as well, to go into a bank and get £100,000 from the bank to do a business. See, banks only lend money when you've got money. When I first got into business, I couldn't get £1,000 overdraft. I applied for a credit card for £500, they knocked me back. But when I started doing well, they were throwing money at me, saying, you want this, £100,000, £200,000, no problem, we'll give you. Because why? Because I built up credibility. Does that make sense? But obviously I didn't want all that money because I knew I could get into trouble with it. The future of retail. Now, this is actually a subject I used to call the death of retail, but we're calling it the future of retail. The reason we're calling it the future of retail, all these companies, they're all going online. Tesco's 51 or 52 stores they've shut down, opened up 49 online warehouses. Why online warehouses? They can do with 3 times the business at a third of the cost. And we've got a guy on our team actually from Tesco's, and he said, look, in these warehouses, the food's aren't on the shelves, nice and packaged. He said, it's just on pallets on the floor. And literally, the order comes through, you book it up, you bag it up, you either pick it up from a pick-up point or they deliver it to you. So it costs a lot less money to do. FHM magazine that I grew up with, gone. They're online basis on now. Gap, 10 stores, it just closed down in the north. Comment, phones for you, massive phones for you. What do people used to do? They don't know the phones for you, starting they used to do. It was such a big brand, it was like, when you get your phone from it, was some kind of sign that I can't do it, but that's how big it was. But it's gone. Why? Because they had not enough online presence. They were still going traditional. McDonald's, as an example, Marquis, they're so big because they always stay ahead of the times. Wimpy, anyone remember Wimpy in the room? Ladies remember Wimpy? Wimpy would have been bigger than McDonald's. Why? They didn't get with it. They just stayed behind the times. Blockbuster, gone. I think Blockbuster have online presence now, but I think they do. B&Q again, going online. Technology, iPhone 2007, that's when the first iPhone came out. If you get an iPhone 1 compared to an iPhone 6, it's a massive difference. Compare the iPhone 3 to an iPhone 5, it's a massive difference. See, the reason I'm saying all this, there's a reason for it, because people don't realise. Who actually sat there and thought, do you know what, the iPhone 6, the iPhone 1, it came out in 2007, look how good it's got. Since then, none of you have thought that. None of you have even thought about that. Technology does not double, it quadruples every year, over and over again. This is where people fall short. They don't stay with it. Traditional jobs, traditional ways of doing business. It's all becoming different now. It's all becoming different. The iPad 2009, the iPad Air, which is I think the latest one, 2015, is a lot better. But the burger robot. Did anyone see the Facebook thing on this? Burger robot. Massive outcry. We protested America and around the world. This machine can make better burgers than a human. And you know what? It comes into work on time, it doesn't argue, it doesn't need sick pay, it doesn't fall pregnant. This is true. On Facebook, this is true. These are things that, look, I wasn't born with this knowledge, it's just what I'm reading. I'm just giving you what I read, and then I go, oh, well, actually, that makes sense, and then I'm sharing it with you guys. Yeah, the burger robot. Now, just to touch base on the change of technology. Just drink some water. I'm supposed to be right. It's nerve-wracking when you got it. It doesn't matter how many times you do it. It's proper nerve-wracking. Right. Okay. World's largest taxi company. Has anyone heard of Uber?
Yes.
We all know Uber, right? Who uses Uber? Not many in the north yet, but you will be soon. Okay? Uber is the largest taxi company in the world, doesn't even own a car. They have no taxis. Not whatsoever. And they just invested, and I did a speech on this about 3 weeks ago, saying that when they bring the manless car out, Uber will be buying them. And the funny thing is, on David Letterman, I think it was, on a American show, they had the owner of Uber on, and they said to him, they said, how can we invest so much money in Tesla? Tesla, just to let you know, is a company that's developed a car that doesn't need a driver. It drives by itself. I know it's sad, but They developed it. Uber has just invested loads of money into it. Now, I'll give you a prediction that I'm 99% going to be right about. In 5 years, people that are doing taxi driving now, it's going to be gone, because when these cars actually made the advert, it cost about 20, 30 million pounds to endorse it with famous people, the same ball, etc., etc. It costs a lot of money, and every time they play it in one country, in one region, it costs £3 million for 30 seconds. £3 million for 30 seconds. So now that could cost hundreds of millions of pounds with making it and playing it. Who's going to pay for that money? Services, products, whether they're gas, electric, or virgin, they're not here to do you a favour, they're here to make money out of it. They're providing something that you need to make money. So where does the cost come from? If they're spending hundreds of millions on advertising, you guys have to pay for that. So they charge you for it. Someone said to me the other day, they said, I got them a virgin, it's called a Big Kahuna now, I used to call it Big Daddy last time, they changed the name. I don't know where they changed from, but anyway, they can call it what they want, I suppose. But the Big Daddy package it was back then. Sorry. £107 plus £16 a month line rental, would that be right? Or £17.99 a month line rental. That's how much it was costing them. I got it for 55 quid. And when I say it's a big package, I mean it does everything. 4 movies at a time, the works, your phone lines, your broadband is all done. And I got it for £55, and he said to me, he didn't take the service straight away, but the next day he called me and I went round and I did it for him. In fact, I did it. So he goes to me, how did you save so much? I said, why didn't you take the service when I first got it here? And he goes, he didn't say anything. I said, it's because you ran Virgin, you should double check if you get it cheaper. You thought by going directly to them, by ringing them. And he goes, yeah. And he goes, when you ring them, they think you've come through an advert. When they think you've come through an advert, they want money for the advert that they made for you. The reason I get it cheaper is because I'm a customer, because I told you about it. I spent 30 seconds telling you about something. I've got your service, you're going to keep the rest of your life, and I'm going to get paid for every time you pay the bill. Well, I pressed the wrong one.
You pressed the wrong one.
Do you know what? I did that on purpose, just to make you look better off.
Current slide, yeah.
Okay. Einstein, this is one of my favourite quotes. In fact, a lot of quotes that Einstein say is favourite of mine. His definition of insanity: doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. There's so many people that you come across. They go to work 9 to 5 or 5 to 11, you do their part-time job, whatever, and they're doing it every day, every day, over and over and over and over again, thinking that something different is going to happen to them. Thinking that some fairy's going to come down, wait for the magic wand, and all of a sudden they're going to be living the life that they deserve. Because every one of you inside here knows you are better than what you're living now. But you just don't know how to acquire it. So the reason I always use this slide is because people are generally just doing the same thing over and over again, thinking that something different is going to happen. Unless you make a change and change your path, change your destination, that's not going to happen. If, for example, I was speaking to a 34-year-old the other day, and I don't know if you call it mentoring. I don't know if I'd be the kind of person to mentor anyone, but I was having a conversation with him, and he was getting angry about something. I said, look, you're getting angry about the wrong thing. Problems happen, just move on. And he was like, no, it does it. I said, look, let me put it to you this way. You're 34 years old. You've got to where you are now because of the way you think. And it's not worked for you, has it? If it's worked for you, you wouldn't be here now talking to me. And he said, yeah, you're right. I said, exactly, you need to change. Network marketing. Bill Gates said if he was to do a profession again in this era, he'd pick network marketing. Warren Buffett actually owns a network marketing company. He recently acquired one. And it's nowhere near as good as ours. For all these women in the room, 80% of women who earn over £100,000 a year, that's basically for every 10 women on the planet, 8 of them who earn over £100,000 a year. So out of every 10 women on the planet, that earn over £100,000 a year, every 10 women on the planet that earn over £100,000 a year, 8 of them is from network marketing, from this type of business. This business alone will create 16,000 millionaires by the end of 2016. Like Shah said, it's a $1 trillion industry. To make multiple millionaires out of this industry, it is simple. 6 degrees of separation. This is something that some clever guys worked out a long time ago. That basically, we're all connected by 6 people. For example, Derek knows someone that knows someone that knows someone that knows someone that might know Floyd Mayweather. And this is quite true, and I gave a speech on this, but this is quite true because it happened to me the other day when Jody Marsh actually sent me a friend request to Does anyone know Joey Marshall? Anyone?
Oh, yeah.
All the lads know Joey
Yeah.
Marshall. Well, I've never accepted a friend request so quick, that's all I can tell you. This is not 6 degrees of separation anymore. We call it now 3 degrees of separation. Because of social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twittergram, whatever, you've got all these things, it's now 3 degrees of separation. Now the reason I touch base on this is this is one of the reasons why network marketing is so much easier and better for today's life of doing business, way of life in doing business. Persistence over resistance. This is what I was touching base on before. You have to be persistent and consistent when you do any business. Okay? Driving lessons. Everyone drives in this room?
Yeah.
But a lot of people, they take 350 lessons. Some take 10, some take 12, some take 15. I've got a guy who took 350 lessons and 5 or 6 tests. Sorry. But, you know, still passed. Why? Because they were hungry. They wanted to pass. They needed to pass. The reason I use this example is, it's the same thing in network marketing. These promotions that Mark showed you, the SVPs, RVPs, 99% chance you'll make it if you stick at it. 1% is if you die. No one can stop that. But it's the same with driving. If you stick at it, you will pass. It's the same with marathon. If you're running a marathon, even if you're walking or crawling, as long as you're going in the straight direction, the direction you're meant to be, where the finish line is, you'll win, right? Or you'll finish. This business is the same. Some people do it in 1 year, some people do it in 2 years. Mark said, there's guys that are doing it in 30 days. There is. There's guys that do it really quick as well. But the thing is, it's achievable for everybody, as long as you stay with it and keep on learning and keep on growing with the business. Learning to walk, and you see that, thanks. Learning to walk. When someone learns to walk, they fall over and over again. If the mindset that, they say that at 25 you die, at 65 you get buried. If a baby has a mindset of a 25-year-old, they never learn to walk. They fall over 3 or 4 times, sit in the corner and say, sod this. You know what, Mom? Bring me my milk, change my nappy. This walking malarkey is too hard for me. Why did we learn to walk? We're persistent. Why did we learn to learn when we're in school? You see kids, the teachers stay there going, say A, say A, say, 1,000 times until they get that letter. Then you've got 26 letters left. But does that student not learn to read? No, he learns to read. Persistence. They don't give up and say, it's not going my way. I've not earned any points, I've not earned a star, I'm giving up, see you later, teacher. They stay with it. They have no choice. It's a shame if those kids, the mindset that kids have, if most of us had that when we were older, we'd all be successful. Because there's room for it. We're in the first world country. Thanks. This guy has been a member of his gym for 15 years. This guy was only a member for 2 years. I think you all know what I'm getting at. And I think the reason these guys have put this slide up is because I was giving a talk once, and I was saying, I should go down to my local gym where I've been going since 2010 and say, you know what, I want my refund, I want money back. I've been paying X amount every month for 5 or 6 years, and I still don't have a six-pack. They'll probably laugh at me and say, you only come down every now and then and sit in the steam room, you're not going to get a six-pack doing that. What I'm trying to get at is, network marketing, you will get what you put into it. And it will get easier and easier, because the more you learn something, the easier it gets. For example, now, if I were to make a coffee on one of those fancy coffee machines that they use, I can do it in 2 seconds, right? Because I've got so much training, I've made so much coffee. Anything you do gets easier. And this is why people do it. They want to go to the gym, they go once and that's it, they give up. But they never blame the gym, do they? But if you go online, look at network marketing companies, there's people blaming it. I joined it 3 months, I couldn't. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is a get-rich scheme, but it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. Right? Get-rich-quick schemes are normally fraudulent, and they only cost thousands of pounds a day. Essentials of today, the future. We do all the essentials that people need. Electric, solar power, gas, plumbing, everything, security. The health products. 65% of the UK population is obese. That's why it's a $1 trillion industry. That's why we do that as well. The Illuminate products, they're paraben-free. Did you know that a lot of the stuff that you're using actually ages you down to makeup? It ages you. The reason you do with makeup is because they want you to apply more because supply and demand. But the products, the stuff they put in the products, it gives it more shelf life. And to give it longer shelf life without putting harmful products in costs a lot of money. Again, it's a massive industry, and the Illuminate it's an awesome thing. It's an awesome product, and I use it all the time, and all of us now on this business, we use it. I'll admit to you, when it first came up, we were like, services, yeah. Women products, no. You know, it just seemed a bit not manly enough. But now, I've got to admit, they're all using them. Electric, gas. Would you say these things are essentials?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are they essentials?
Yeah.
I don't think they're essentials. 50 years ago they were essentials. 50 years ago everyone had broadband and electric in the house.
No.
No. They're essentials now, aren't they? If lights go off now, you know, if your network, EE network went down, I think about 2 years ago. I was on EE at the time. And you know, I don't know, flipping out when the network went down. Only 2 or 3 hours it went down for, but I couldn't use my phone. That's when I realized how important these things have become. They become part of our life. Imagine now using your phone, it's got everything on there. Imagine it. But 10 years ago, if you said to someone, I'll use my phone, I've had it, they would have laughed at you. And those people that would have laughed at you 10 years ago, they're using those phones now and they have their life in that device. So these things, essentials, you know, it's easy. Once you learn this business, you're going to someone, you know, who's using gas and electric, and you're getting them the same product for cheaper. But when I say knowledge comes into it, a lot of people, they think that when gas and electric gets changed, maybe someone comes out and digs a pipe up. That's not what happens. The pipes are leased. There's one owner, they're leased. You're basically moving from one landlord to another landlord. You're getting the same house somewhere else for the same for a cheaper price. So, like Shah says, Mark served the country for 13 years. He's served the country brilliantly for 13 years. And you know, one of the things he said to me, which really touched my heart, he said, you know what, now I'm serving the public. I'm saving them money and I'm making money in the process. This slide, if you want to go have a quick read of it, 56 hours sleeping, 40 hours working, 35 hours eating, showering, traveling, etc. 37 hours free time. You don't need 37 hours to pursue a business like this. 7-8 hours a week is more than enough. It's a lot. I know guys on the team that are putting 2 hours a week in and they're achieving massive results. You know? People don't finish anything or want everything. There's no patience left in anyone anymore. They want things quick, now, but they don't realize over a small period of time, you can acquire all those things. Just through some discipline and training and learning. Now guys, I think that's the end of my talk. I hope I've not bored the hell out of all of you. I'm going to hand it back to Mark, and thank you for listening.